Cody and I met in an online men's group that started in May of last year. That men's group is facilitated by Klaus Klein. Cody lives in Fairmont Hot Springs, British Columbia. Cody requested to speak about his experience with OCD, depression, and debilitating anxiety that he went through in 2017. He feels like when such a high level of trauma and near death is experienced, that it's important to share, which is why he reached out to myself. Cody is still alive, but during this experience, he never thought he would make it through. He also thinks that he came to realize a few things that were vital to help others. Cody hopes that you enjoy his short story. Thanks again so much for doing this video another time, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Some technical issues before. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I was curious, what like when you were at your worst there, what was life like for you?
Yeah, thanks, Scott, for the beautiful introduction as always. And so, at my worst, was a slow lead up. So, losing my job in 2016 due to addiction and a buildup of anxiety and OCD thoughts, not really knowing what it was at that time. I had to move in with my mom, and then shit just kept getting worse from there. Um, and then leading up to 2017, um, I had been dealing with different new thoughts in my brain. And just to give the viewers a certain idea of the spectrum of OCD that I was dealing with, is the most underreported one. It's called puro OCD. Essentially, what that means is it's not your typical hand washing OCD. It's more of a intrusive thoughts that your brain can't disconnect with. They feel like reality, fear of knives harming individuals, fear of somatic breathing, blinking, and then it turns into an obsession. And it's under the spectrum of anxiety, as most things are. So to answer your question, 2017, the build up to that was not really knowing what was going on, and pretty much panic attacks every day for about 6 months, 7 months till I recovered. And yeah, bedridden, atrophied, like literally in bed all day, except for eating. So eventually, is it okay to just keep going, or?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So like eventually, to shine on the intro there, like where I saw some light, almost like night and day, was a last ditch effort. I tried lots of holistic things to help with the OCD and the panic attacks. And essentially what the bridge was, and I ended up at the psychiatry wing in Victoria. I think it was VGH, Victoria General Hospital, and then ended up being prescribed a regime based on my history. And this was also having, like, in Victoria, there's a shortage of doctors. So I had MRIs, I had health assessments, I had been kicked out of hospitals because nobody thought there was anything going on with me. So my brother just said, let's go, we're going to the psych wing. And not to be admitted, but to get like a professional opinion. And the turning of events from that was quite night and day. They prescribed a medication based on my history that I wouldn't get in a typical clinic in Victoria, based on what I was dealing with. And then, so I guess I'll talk about the medications. The medications are Zoloft, and then it was a benzodiazepine to calm things down so that I could move into making better decisions, because I wasn't sleeping. You're not going to have any success of breaking that pattern of anxiety unless you're able to think clear. And that is what medication gave for me for a short period of time. And yeah, so I woke up one day and just a week or two on the medication and started walking 8 hours a day, just being outside. And I had to relearn how to socialize with people. And I didn't talk to you about that in the previous recordings, but yeah. So thanks, Scott. It's always great to be going down this again, reliving
Oh,
it.
my
So,
pleasure. No, thanks for all your honesty and sharing. And I was curious, I guess, just to touch on that last point,
mhm.
like when you said learning how to socialize again. I guess, would you mind like just expanding on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Like if it was related, I know it was OCD, but would you say that was more anxiety related or shame
So
or guilt related or?
yeah, definitely the when I say needing to, like, I always knew how to socialize, but I was almost like I didn't know what was going on. I was agoraphobic to a certain point. Like going outside was such an overwhelm of anxiety. Um, the fear of going outside when, like, say, certain symptoms of panic attacks or blurry vision, you don't really know where to go. Your brain is just moving so fast, and um, so the time, it's like living in a cave with cavemen and not knowing how to speak English. Like, is how I would describe it. So um, I literally had to work my social muscle, hug people, ask people how they're doing, talk to everybody, and that helped to bring me back to center, like, and functioning in the world as well. So yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting.
I think what comes to mind maybe is for other people that might see this as social anxiety, even if they're not struggling with OCD. Like when you're living inside without feedback from the outside world, you lose the ability to connect to the outside world. So
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, and was that something that like you overcame fairly quickly, or did that take a period of time to rebuild your social muscles?
Uh, I had money in the bank after recovering from that depression. Like I wasn't spending money, so my money just kept building up. So I was able to go and spend a lot of time just walking around Victoria. And I met a girl actually throughout that time. Yeah, it was slow, but it was um I felt so great to have that kind of window of uh low stress, to have the ability to go out and connect. And it came back quick for me. Others maybe not, because they're not as social. Like, I'm naturally social, so it was something, I guess, that I'm bringing awareness to, because it just was so abnormal to stutter and, like, not know how to communicate and feel awkward and stuff like that. So yeah,
Mm, that's right.
yeah. And like I also came across uh, quite a few resources now, knowing what, like, I didn't know what was going on. So that's sometimes, even if you don't believe in a diagnosis of something and it just is too broad or whatever, having a diagnosis helps you to become stronger in that, from my point of view. So um, so what I'm getting at with that is I came across quite a few very diverse OCD awareness groups and clinics. So one is OCDLA, and then NOCD, which stands for No OCD. Um, and it is a free app you can download. So
Oh,
yeah,
perfect. Yeah, we'll make sure those are in the video description. And
cool.
yeah, as you know, when you come across good resources, it's really invaluable, especially when they're free. And I
Hmm.
guess that's the one thing we are fortunate nowadays, between apps and websites and platforms, is there's a lot of great free resources out there for mental health. And being able to point people to those is invaluable. So
Hmm.
I'll make sure those get put in the description there.
Awesome.
And Yeah, once again, Cody, thank you so much for openly sharing about your journey. And I know I'm really admire, how far you've come. And I think, wow, being bedridden for 6 months, I can't even imagine that. Like, man, oh man. So yeah, huge kudos to you. And I'm optimistic that there could be one person who sees this video that is going through what you went through, maybe on even a milder scale, that will be
Yeah,
inspired. So
awesome.
yeah. Well,
Hopefully. Go ahead.
well, again, thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, my friend.
Okay, take care.
All right, you too.